Good afternoon. My name is Kristin Mills. I'm the Deputy Director of the California Foundation for Independent Living Centers and the Project Director of Youth Organizing Disabled and Proud. We're very excited today to have you all here as a part of our webinar, Youth Achieving Career Access. We have a number of wonderful participants, both in the room on the webinar and on the phone, that will be participating in the discussion on how to build career access for young people with disabilities transitioning from benefits, such as Medi-Cal, Social Security, and home support services. Youth Organizing Disabled and Proud is about connecting, educating, and organizing youth with disabilities ages 16 to 28 throughout the state of California. We are excited to be working on a number of different activities and events during this time of year. We actually are missing our youth organizer today. We are doing an ADA 25 forum in different parts of the state throughout the entire year, and he's unavailable due to one of those forums. If you'd like to find out more information about a forum that may be coming to your neighborhood, please check out our Yo Disabled and Proud website, or contact Kirk Aranda, our youth organizer, at Kirk, K-I-R-K, at cfilc.org. Without further ado, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. I'd like to introduce our moderator from New York, Emily Ladau, to start our presentation on career access.
Hi everyone. I'm really glad that all of you are here today. We have two panelists with us right now. We have Kristin Ansell and Daniel Mellenthin, who are both going to be sharing their stories about why they need career access and about how current Social Security policies have impacted their lives. So without further ado, I want to tell you all a little bit about what career access actually is. It's a community-driven proposed program of reform, and rather than read the slide, I'll essentially explain that what we're looking to do is change the way that their current Social Security policies affect people who are pursuing employment and also need benefits. So right now we are looking to work with young adults, specifically ages 18 to 30, although we of course need allies from all generations. And the goal is that people will be able to pursue successful employment while also still maintaining the supplemental security income that they need in order to have things like personal care attendants or things of that nature. And a really unique part of what we're going to do is ensure that each person has an individualized career plan that will get them started in the right direction, and that'll include coaching, counseling, support in pursuing employment. And our ultimate goal is for people to be able to still receive the benefits that they need while also still achieving the level of independence that they desire. And the other thing that we are focusing on is creating a change to the current definition that Social Security uses to define disability, which as of right now is defined as the inability to work, and we believe that is not the case. So without further ado, I am going to move on to ask our panelists to introduce themselves. I will tell you all really quickly that my name is Emily Ladau. I work with Career Access largely on communications and also various outreach initiatives along with several wonderful colleagues. And I am also a writer and a really passionate disability rights activist.
Hi, my name is Kristin Ansell, and I've been on SSI for 10 years, and I'm currently enrolled in Sierra Community College up in Grass Valley where I live, and right now I'm working with Yo Disabled and Proud with Kirk, and then also with Freed Center for Independent Living, which is in Grass Valley, California. And I've started a youth group in my area for youth with disabilities.
Thank you so much, Kristin. Do we have Daniel or Justin on the line now who can introduce themselves? Okay, so I guess we are going to move forward, and what we're going to do is make the webinar a little bit more interactive, because I think that there are probably plenty of you, if you are willing, who might actually be able to answer some of these questions and share your own experiences. So our first question, and I will have our panelist Kristin answer it, is how have current Social Security policies impacted your career opportunities? So that could mean a wide variety of things. It might mean the asset caps that they currently put on people. It might mean penalties if you receive financial help from someone. It could mean perhaps an income level that is over the amount that you are allowed to receive each month, or needing to pay for personal assistance and not being able to afford it. So Kristin, could you talk to us a little bit about how your being on Social Security has impacted you in terms of pursuing a career?
Yes, okay. Well, since I'm a student, and I've been a student at Sierra College since 2005, I believe, which would be my sophomore year in high school, and I'm 25 right now. And I've been going to Sierra College usually two semesters, or 2 classes per semester. And I can't afford any more than that because books are so expensive, and I can get some financial aid, but not a lot. So when school comes around, I can't get a lot of materials and the expensive books, because I get about $800 per month, and to live on that amount and get school supplies, which are a lot, it's just very hard. You're counting down to the dollars. And so for jobs, I've looked at different jobs. One was at a company called Ansell Designs, and it's a local company in Grass Valley where they create technology for TV stations and reporters. And it looked very promising. I was really interested in computers, and but what they wanted was more experience, more education. I didn't know enough at that time to jump in and go ahead and start working there. And so that meant I have more years to do at college, which takes up time, takes up money, and yeah, they were hiring like engineers with actual degrees, and I've only been at the community college, so I don't have the money to save up for a huge 4-year college. And with the program, you can't. You have a maximum of $2,000, and to even reach that is really hard. If you're getting $800 a month, you have to live on that $800 too. So that prevented me from getting that job. I didn't have the experience. I couldn't drive there, and so basically it's been an uphill battle trying to figure out what jobs I could take that don't require tons of college education, and that's just really hard right now.
Thank you so much, Kristin. Is it okay if I throw it out to the audience? Is there anyone who would like to quickly share their stories about how Social Security has impacted their career opportunities? If so, you're welcome to speak up. Okay, and then we can definitely circle back to Daniel.
Hi everyone, my name is Brian, but I prefer to be called Nathan. What Kristin said, basically she just took the words out of my mouth. Like, I am a student at Sacramento City College and American River College, but the thing is, I'm currently living by myself. I'm living in an apartment that the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency has given me, and it's really close to one of the colleges. And the thing is, I've been trying to look for jobs by myself, but it's just not working out because after high school, I immediately didn't start working because my mom and my parents pushed me to start on my GE as soon as possible and get an associate's degree as soon as possible, but they were just so demanding, and I had to. I just couldn't stand being with them anymore, so I signed up for an apartment with SHRA and I moved out. But the thing is, because like I'm 23 right now, but I believe that like I don't have that very much experience. I've only had like a handful of jobs. I joined the college to career program at Sacramento City College, and I decided that maybe I could be a teacher's assistant, and I ended up getting 12 units in ECE, and because that was one of the options for the college to career program, and I didn't want a job that I could just sit down in front of the computer all day. That's not the job. That's not what I really like. So I decided that maybe this might be the career for me. But after working with 2 preschools, I found that wasn't the career choice for me, and I decided to like maybe change my career to something else. But the thing is, I tried looking for jobs by myself numerous times. I've tried going to the career centers at American River and Sac City. I've been filing numerous applications, sending out many cover letters, but like no. And even though I call them, they tell me that they're not interested in hiring me, and I think it's because they don't think I have any experience. And the last job I had, I worked at Sacramento City College as an attendant in one of the computer labs, and I really liked it, but unfortunately I ended up being let go because I had a problem dealing with angry customers, and that was one of the reasons why I got let go. And right now I'm like I try to find a job by myself, but like with SSI it's kind of hard because the thing is, like, even though I'm looking for a job, I'm still trying to forward my education, and the thing is, I've been temporarily expelled from financial aid, so I'm paying with my books with SSI, and it's just really hard, and I keep sending out and applying for many jobs, and yeah, I've been having no luck.
Yeah, so it sounds like both you and Kristin have somewhat similar stories in terms of the difficulties that you've been facing, but also unique stories. I see Hamza just sent a message, so I would love to hear one more story. I know Hamza would definitely be a good person to share, and I'll let you introduce yourself, Hamza, and then we can move on to the next question.
So hi everyone, as Emily mentioned, my name is Hamza Jarka, and I actually wrote a blog for CareerACCESS detailing why it would be useful for me to have it. And you know, really for me, the issues revolve around the asset limits, income levels, and personal assistance needs. So I am about to start law school at UC Berkeley's School of Law. Very excited about that. But what I'm learning now is that as a law student, when you take on a summer internship, you usually get paid. And when you work throughout the year, you get paid. However, if I work, I will likely lose my SSI, And the plans that are available, like Path to Achieve Self-Support, aren't necessarily easy to apply for. So there's a chance I might not get those, and my work opportunities would be limited, thus making it really hard for me to get a job once I graduate and pass the bar. And then, further, when I start working, I'm probably not going to make enough to pay my own personal cares, but I'm likely going to be above the asset limit in most of my states, and also to apply for 1619B Medicaid exemptions. So I'm kind of navigating this nadir, trying to figure out how to do what I want to do in public service, but ensure that I can actually live and get the work experience I need to be an attorney for folks from marginalized communities.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Hamza. I really appreciate it. And I'm also wondering, I think Justin is on the line now. Is that true?
Yeah, hi guys. This is Justin Harford.
Justin, do you think that we could get you to jump in on our next question, which I just moved on to, which is, why do you need career access or Social Security reform? We'd love to hear from you about that.
Well, Emily, I think for me, what I would kind of do is do a rewind here back when I was I think for my situation, back I was having a lot of trouble back before. I have a job now. I've been employed for about 1.5 years, fortunately. But before that, I had struggles with being able to, with the asset limit and being able to save up for necessary expenses. Also had a lot of trouble with the fact that when I would get scholarships, that I actually had to hide that money because I wasn't technically supposed to have it. I know there is a student earned income exemption rule, but I was most of the time too old to be able to take advantage of it. I think now kind of my situation is that I know that now as I'm working and I'm building up my assets, having access to programs that would allow me to keep a hold of those in the case, for example, that I were to become unemployed. I think that's kind of why I need it. And I think as a whole we need it because really all of the stuff that we deal with, where I work at an independent living center, and all of the issues that we face with our consumers every day, whether it's issues with public transportation, access to accessible, affordable housing, access to health care, employment is really the linchpin of all of those things. And I think that a lot of the difficulties that our staff are finding every day with our consumers would be fixed if some of the people that we work with could take on gainful employment. And actually I think Hamza had a comment about that. There's a pretty well-known quote about it going around from him. But that's my comment on that question, Emily.
I will just read really quickly the comment that Hamza made responding to Justin. It is very frustrating that the SEIE has an age limit. I mean, students need to be able to build assets too, right? Which is absolutely true, Hamza. Thank you so much for adding that in. And Kristin, can I ask you, how do you feel that Social Security reform would ultimately benefit your life?
Could you clarify what you mean by can you clarify the question maybe?
Sure, absolutely. So do you feel that if we were to reform Social Security in any way with the Career Access Initiative, that it would significantly improve your quality of life and your ability to pursue a career?
Well, we'd have to see, what the change would be, but it's hard to see how this system could work out because it keeps you at a poverty level. You can't go higher than a X amount of dollars, and it's supposed to be a program for independence and getting out of where you are now to get a job and get money and grow on, and it won't allow that with this limit that they have, and when you do try and get that limit, you're always trying to dodge people and being careful about your money, and so it's I mean, I need it just to get day by day, and just to see that I can't see myself making enough money to move onward, which renting or buying a house or a car or anything like that. That those things help you become independent, and when you can't get those things, then you're just
Amen.
stuck. And so, yeah, thank you. And so, it's just, I don't know, I need it just day by day to get by. And so I'm not really thinking about the far, far future about my 4-year college and how much that's going to be, because I know I can't save up for it. So, it's just day by day. And if it somehow got better, I'd be surprised if it really, really helped. It's just I don't have a clear-cut vision of it. So that's my input.
Right. And really quickly, I will read 2 messages from the chat box. The first, we have, how can I join CareerACCESS? And we are actually going to make sure that we touch on that later, because that is the ultimate goal, that we bring on more young adults who will share in our mission of pursuing Social Security reform. And also, I believe Christina asked, did any of these issues that you have been talking about come up in a transition plan when you left high school? This is a chance, I think, for anyone to jump in, or Hamza, I am happy to read the answer that you sent, unless you would like to.
Oh, sorry, can I go?
Sure, absolutely. And then Hamza, if you'd like.
Yeah. Well, when I transitioned from high school to college, I was having a lot of problems going on with not figuring out my mental state and getting medicine and trying to I actually did my whole senior year and part of my junior year all in my last year of high school, because I had just gone so far back and I had to do home training and like home teaching, and so transitioning, I was already going to college when I was in high school, so the transition just I don't think there were many problems, but I live with my mom, so yeah, I don't see any issues that I can think of.
Could I say something?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, were you done? No, you weren't done telling your story yet, were you?
I think Kristin was wrapping up, so I think you should be good.
Sounds like she was done.
Okay, well, I would like to share something. Just the very second I graduated high school, I actually graduated with a diploma, despite what everyone thought. And the very second I graduated, my mom took me immediately to the SSI office, and she signed me up for SSI, and she told me that it was not necessary for me to work at all, that I should just stay on SSI and just go to college so that way I can get my associate's degree. But what I found, like for the next few months, that my parents were actually taking my SSI from me, and during that time, like when I graduated high school, it was really problematic for me because I've been told all my life that I was worthless, that I should not have come into existence, that I was dumb, and that I should just be put into a group home because there's no place for a person like me in the world. And eventually I just couldn't tolerate what my family and what my peers were saying to me, so I just decided to get into SHRA and pack up my things and leave. But the thing is, I was supposed to start looking for jobs when I graduated high school, and I did try looking for jobs. I really did. I kept sending numerous applications, but no one answered me back, and even though I called them, they said that they were not interested. And so for the next few years, I remained on SSI, thinking that what my mom said was true, that I can just stay on SSI while I work to get my degree. But I found out later that that you can't really become like a history teacher or anything like that with an empty resume. So that's why I decided to try looking for jobs again. And I actually did have a couple of jobs, but they didn't really last long because of my lack of experience and because of my disability.
I really appreciate your honesty in sharing that. And so I see that we have a couple of questions and some comments. So really quickly, I would like to read a comment from Sarah, who says, "Hi, I can't get my mic to work, but I would like to answer this question. Yes, we need SSI reform. I currently am working a job that has me over the Missouri income cap, and I just graduated university. I am about to get my MPA and would like to move away from an entry-level job. I know that I have the skills to move higher in the workforce, but until we reform Social Security, I can't do that, and honestly, that isn't fair. No one should have to stay in an entry-level job just because they can't walk." So I really appreciate you sharing that extremely enthusiastic and spot-on response, Sarah. And I see that we have a question from Elsa. So how about we just have Hamza share what he was going to say, and then I'll quickly read the question from Elsa, and then we'll move on to the next slide.
Hi, can you all hear me? Just double checking. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to speak to Elsa's question real quick. I did have a Department of Vocational Rehabilitation counselor in high school, and I did get benefits planning and transition planning when I was a junior, but it all felt so ridiculous and needlessly complicated that I didn't start seriously looking into it till I was about 18 years old and about to start college. What I think needs to happen is, you know, Social Security says we have all of these programs that will enable you to work and save money, like the Student Earned Income Exemption, you know, 1619B caps, but they're often so strict. They have such strict requirements for you to utilize them, or they're full of exceptions that may disqualify you. So, like Sarah said, you know, a lot of folks with disabilities do have skills and a lot to bring to the workforce, but we can't even explore that because the programs in place make no sense. And oftentimes people at the Social Security office don't even know about them. When I was applying for the Student Earned Income Exemption, I had to teach my office, this is how the program works. And so if we can come up with our own plans in concert with a counselor or somebody who understands the system, that'll help us a lot. You know, switching to person-based planning will open up so many doors for us.
Yeah, that was great. And this is Justin. I could answer the question too. I personally did not receive really any transition services. It's like no benefits counseling. I did get signed up for DOR, and DOR was kind of like a rich uncle. DOR would basically get me all the technology stuff that I needed, which was great. But I always kind of had the sense that my counselor at the Department of Rehabilitation was too busy to be able to really give me the individualized attention that I needed. And for me, it was all these rules and everything in Social Security. I didn't really start learning about them until, gosh, I think when I started my job. I mean, I kind of understood income rules a little bit, and yeah, I mean, like Hamza said, and when I would try to find and get, when I would hear about programs like the PASS plan, for example, I'd ask them, and they'd be like, what plan? Like, so information was pretty hard to come by, and I did not have transition services.
I'm really enjoying the dialogue that we have going, and I think this is extremely important in terms of conveying just how deeply and for how long the current Social Security policies have really been affecting people. And I have one more question that I see from Christina in the chat box, so I'd love to pose that, and then I will move on to the next question. Christina asks, since you've left high school, do you think it would be helpful to have a community transition specialist at your meetings, or someone who would have been able to guide you out of the K-12 system and then continue to assist you after high school? I invite anyone to jump in and answer that question, although I will turn it specifically to Kristin and Justin. Oh, I see. Okay, we have one person about to answer. Go ahead.
Well, I think that would be helpful, what she just said, yeah, because there are plenty of people with my disability, high school kids with my disability who are still living with their parents, and most of their parents are controlling, and they don't want their children to get this kind of information that can possibly essentially help them become functioning members of society.
And I will add several very emphatic answers to that, and then I think someone else was about to jump in. Sarah said, I second what Hamza was saying, and a lot of times vocational rehabilitation is hit or miss. It's run by state, so literally every state funds different things. Missouri won't fund a van that I can drive, but I know other people in other states that have gotten their van fully funded by VR. And in terms of having a transition specialist to help you out, I have to laugh because Sarah says, yes, that was the most confusing thing ever, and it's true, I agree. And then Elsa says, yes, 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 it would have been helpful to have a community transition specialist. Hamza says, I'd hope that there would be multiple transition specialists so that people can personally plan their own transitions. And then we have Daniel, one of our panelists who is having some technical difficulties, jumping in, and he says, and it is a significant problem that these stories are on a state-by-state basis. Hamza jumped in. I'm just making sure you guys get the full conversation in chat in case you can't see it. It's important to not have someone be too busy to help us out. And he says, don't get me started on my out-of-state practice, which is funny. Oh, and Daniel actually meant it is a significant problem that these stories vary on a state-by-state basis. So I think that was in response to Sarah. And I apologize if it's a little hard to keep up with the chat, but I just want to make sure that everyone stays informed because there's some really great dialogue going on here. And did we have one other person who wanted to jump in? Otherwise, in the interest of time, I'd like to move on to the next question.
I just wanted to add a little thing about the transition from high school to college. So,
go for it.
Yeah. We have a program at our school up in Grass Valley called Godoti, and it takes high school students, any high school student, you have to get into the program, but in your sophomore or junior year, they transition you. They give you classes at your college, which is like around the block, and so you can take your GE classes while you're taking high school. So by the time you finish your senior year, you are able to, you're really ahead, and you know kind of what the high school and college are like. I mean, yeah, I didn't fit into the program, but that's what I had, and I actually had my disabled counselor at Sierra College help me transition to take, what do you want to major in, what classes do you want to take, and kind of why. But I've changed my major 3 times, and I still don't know what I want. And then now I'm on financial aid block because I've taken so many credits, and I don't know. And my counselor never told me about that. But I think having a counselor or having a program like the Godoti system is good to transition from high school onward. And yeah, that's it.
It sounds like everyone hasn't had the most helpful of experiences with transition. We have Hamza, who shared, my transition essentially consisted of meeting with a vocational rehabilitation counselor, benefits specialist, and take college classes. And then we have Christina, who said, and I concur with her, I certainly appreciate everyone's honesty and openness on the topic. I had a very similar situation when I was transitioning from SSI and Medi-Cal to work. There's a lot of room for Social Security reform. One thing I would like to see is Social Security works knows what programs within their own systems are available to use. 1619B, the 250% working disabled program in California passed the student exclusion program. So, of course, it would be helpful if people actually knew what was available to us, for sure. I definitely agree with that. And now we're going to move on to the next question. And we'll jump in with one last comment from, or actually 2 more comments. It seems everyone's very excited about this, so I'd rather get everyone's enthusiasm on this topic. Hamza said, yes, Kristin, the reality of how long it can take for disabled folks to finish college is not always considered, as is the disastrous effect it can have on our finances. Although he says, in fairness to my counselor, she is amazing. And we have George, thank you. So good to have another voice jump in. And he said, never had a transition counselor in high school. When I graduated from college, this came back to haunt me as I was unsure of how to handle essential things beyond K through 12 in college, such as knowing whether or not I had the skills necessary for a job and what options I had to know what was available to assist me in seeking work. So now, just in the interest of time, I'm going to move to the next slide. And it seems that we've already been talking about this a little bit, but does anyone else have anything they want to add in terms of what supports they feel they need at the current stage they're in life that would really help them to pursue a successful career? I think we will start with our panelists, and how about we start with Kristin?
Well, yes, this question overlaps a bit of what we've been talking about. Since I'm mainly talking about college, the units are paid for from SSI, and that helps a lot. And then I applied for called some kind of not a grant, but from the state to help pay for books. And I think just that's the main thing, that they've been helping me pay for school. And then as for saving up for your college, that's what I would need. Since my mom has said, right out of high school, you need to get a career, then therefore you can get a job. And in summary, it's basically what they have now, I guess, the school funding and some way to save up for 4-year colleges. I would really I would really be interested in if they could make that somehow possible, because then I can get a better job, and that's what they want on the end. So that's it.
So I just want to echo a common theme that I've been hearing throughout everyone's answers, which is really that you know what supports you need and you feel that you had to jump through a lot of hoops to get them. And so one of the things that CareerACCESS is working towards is ensuring that you don't need to jump through all of these hoops in order to pursue the supports that you need to have a successful career. And we are really focusing on taking an approach where you can go through a specific channel for everything instead of having to play around and put together the puzzle pieces of the system. And so I think this is important and relevant to what I've been hearing everyone share. And Daniel, if you're still there, I would love for you to be able to share some of the supports that you feel you need to pursue a successful career, or really, since you've been in and out, if you can jump in with some of your story and tell us a little bit.
My name is Mellenthin. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I initially grew up across the river in Illinois, and I acquired a spinal cord injury in June of 2006. I always knew I wanted to help people. I didn't know how I was going to do that. And rehabilitation counseling sort of fell into my lap, so to speak. And I started studying at SIU Carbondale in the fall of 2007. And I really reignited my passions for learning, and I found myself looking to be in a full-time position. I couldn't find anything down at Southern Illinois, so I had to leave my apartment at the time and a successful relationship to go and try and job seek in St. Louis. So eventually I found a job in St. Louis, worked there for 3 years, was promoted twice, and bought my first home here in St. Louis. So now, after unexpectedly losing my job at the end of the year, December or January, I am now trying to pay for the expenses that one might incur as a full-time employee, 3 years at another place, versus having the income now of SSDI and contracts that I can get them, and then trying to navigate the Medicaid system. So as far as supports I feel I would need to pursue a successful career, that would be support through the Medicaid system to retain my benefits if I were in a situation where I was unable to otherwise pay what might be a spend down or a buy-in. I would also think that I would need some kind of integration of services, which would mean that I want my VR to work with SSA, to work with Medicare and Medicaid, and also that in order to pursue a successful career, I would need an educated employment source. I would need to know that people who were dealing with me and I am, were educated on disability and weren't making valid assumption about me. So I'm going to put it on mute and transition better because it's charging very poorly and ready to speak.
Daniel, I am really glad that you got to jump in even for a little while with your technical difficulties. I appreciate you still sharing. And I will go really quickly back to the chat box, in which, circling back a little bit to what we said before, Christina says, I think it would be wonderful in centers for independent living that are staffed mostly by people with disability could be included in transition planning and support students with their transition needs after high school. Still, staff could be potential role models for going to work, mentors, got to scroll back up, figuring out what services you qualify for outside the school system and assisting you in setting up your independent living goals. And Hamza definitely echoes that. He says, Christina, I didn't even know where my fill was in rural Wisconsin. Luckily, I met you and others who helped me figure out what I needed when I got to college. And in response to what supports you need, Sarah said, my biggest things are 1, personal attendance, 2, transportation, 3, accommodations at work. While my current employer is amazing at accommodating anything I could need, I fear that may not always be the case. And then Hamza shared the key supports I will need are personal care to get to work, transit, access to mentoring, and accommodations, as well as ensuring that I can further my professional development like any other employee in an organization I will be working in. This means accessible transit to networking events, maybe assistance at the events, etc. And then George shares, for me, it would be having the resources to seek work beyond where I currently live. Due to my disability, I am incapable of driving, and this greatly limits how far I can seek out work since I rely on family to get me around and I still currently live with them. I was laid off from my job at the start of this year due to work with my employer going slow and was dreading this happening since the job market in my area is very slow and jobs within my field I desire are very limited here. If I had the resources to be able to transition over to an area that offers better work opportunities, I would love to take advantage of them. And then of course we have, I agree. And I'll jump in here too to say that of course I agree as well. I only started driving recently, and so I was very, very limited in where I could look for work due to access needs and things of that nature. So I definitely echo all of those sentiments. And I would like now for us to move to question number 4, and this is for some of the policy wonks, if you will. I would love to hear, if you could change one thing about current Social Security policies, what would it be and why? And Justin, is it okay if I come to you for this one first?
Yeah. So the only thing about Social Security policy that I would love to change is all of those miserable strict income and asset rules. It's a pain for me to know that every time my mother would buy me meat from the supermarket, or that I would get a check from the California Foundation the California Scholarship Foundation, that I would have to hide it, and that I could not just use that money and use those resources in the open. So that is the one thing I think I would change about Social Security policy.
And I'm going to go right on Justin's coattails because they're fine to ride. In this particular instance, I cannot agree more. The income and asset limits not only force people into a mindset of poverty, they force them into a mindset of misering. And how can I get by? How can I still get my disability check?
Yes, because,
and it silos you away from the working population. How are you supposed to think about working after that? How are you supposed to, once all you've gotten good at is squirreling away money and working the system, how are you supposed to navigate your way through a job interview or make your way through a tough day at work? What we want to do is build sustainability, and the current system doesn't have that in place because it doesn't have anything besides black and white going. And that's not what we do. We live in a world of gray, as people with disabilities especially.
I just want to clarify that was Daniel sharing, just in case anyone wasn't sure about that, which is, of course, really important. I'm glad that he's able to contribute, and it seems that everyone is in much agreement about removing the asset limits. I'm loving the solidarity. And Hamza says, more pertinent, does everything count as one thing to change about policies? And Hamza, I'm actually going to ask you to clarify what you mean by that, if that's okay.
So I guess what I had meant was, can we just change everything that's on the books for Social Security beyond the asset limits, making it easier for people to apply, making it easier for people to get off, making it easier for people to know what programs are out there and actually design programs. You know, a lot of SSI programs that have changed people's lives and enabled them to work
right out of my mouth.
Come as pilot programs that 99% of consumers who need them don't get access to. And so that's why when I say change everything, I mean, you know, change the parts of the system that, as Daniel said, reinforce a mindset of poverty and miserliness and, oh, I don't think I can take this opportunity because I can't afford it. If you've earned it, you deserve to take it. It's that simple.
Thank you so much for clarifying. And we have, Sarah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Sad fact, if you are on SSI, you are not living. You don't have a real life. And, you know, I think for many people that's sad but unfortunately true. And so with CareerACCESS, our goal in getting the programs piloted is really to ensure that we make the process of obtaining benefits and being able to pursue a successful career accessible to everyone. And so, again, since we, do we have one more comment?
Yes, I would just like to say one thing. I would really like it if SSI could at least let us volunteer in certain places, because I found out that there are some places that they won't, that SSI won't let us volunteer at, let's say, like I'm with the ACLU and I'm with ASON and with the Friends of the Library and other organizations, and I have to keep this a secret from them because if they find out, then they might deduct my SSI in some way.
That is certainly an interesting piece of information that I wasn't aware of. And we have Sarah commenting in the chat box. There's no praise hands emoji on this chat, but please insert praise hands here. And then George says, if we could change one thing, it would be definitely the income limits. Before I got my last job 3 years ago, I had exhausted my unemployment benefits and couldn't get SSI because I was over the income limit that they had set up for individuals. It was kind of depressing that I couldn't have any money to come in during a time of need just because I made the choice to save up what I could to get by and help my family where needed. And Hamza echoes what I believe it was, you said you prefer Nathan, I think? Yes, please change the bizarre work and volunteer work restrictions. And so now I would like to move on to the next question. And again, I will turn this over first to our panelists. What would you like your local legislators to know about Social Security reforms? If you were to have a meeting with them today, what would it be?
Justin, do you mind if I lead off, given that my phone is not charging consistently?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Go ahead. Absolutely.
I would absolutely like my legislators to know that there is an alternative to what's happening right now. And what's happening right now is a shockingly and disturbingly low number of people with disabilities employed. And it's not matching up with data for employment desires and potential outcomes. In 2015, there was a Kaiser Foundation study released. It showed something like 80% of people with disabilities not only thought and knew that they could work and felt that they would be a contribution, but felt that they would benefit as well. And those numbers are in stark contrast with what's really happening. And that's what I would want legislators to know, that Social Security reforms are not because people are uppity or anything like that. It's because it's not working. And because there are particular things we could do that would be more impactful, like providing career coaching at an early age, like allowing people to earn past $2,000 a month. If they can't pay for a month of catheters with their medical benefits, and they're going to be able to do it out of pocket. Or that if they crash the car, they're going to be able to repair it. Or that any number of things are allowed, because legislators don't know a lot. That's a tough question, because there's a lot of things I'd like them to know that they don't. But I would like them to know that people do want to work, they're not working, and that the discrepancy is going to be noted by voters in years to come.
And this is Justin, and I'd just like to add that I'd like them to know that the narrative that they have about fraudsters and cheaters and people that are just doing everything they can to game the system is wrong. And I think that the people out there that we know are doing their best to get on the system. And I feel like right now all of the policies and rules related to Social Security are to prevent fraudsters, and rather than to facilitate the people who are trying to get off of the system. And I think that this way they have of killing 100 innocent people so that one guilty won't escape, it just isn't. It's not working. And I think that that's what I'd like my legislatures to know.
Very well put, Justin.
Kristin, would you like to chime in a little bit as our third panelist?
Yes. What I would like to tell them, I've actually talked to one of our senators, it's Senator Ted Gaines, 2 years ago when I was at the Disability Capital Action Day, and I was with a group of people from Freed, and we were in his office, and I told him my story about how I really need SSI just because I don't have any other income or anything, and how important Medi-Cal was, because those were the two topics for that year that I wanted to talk about. But as for the rest of them, yeah, it's hard to tell them, because they know the numbers and the charts, and you know, oh, it's a success story, but I don't think any of them really know what we're going through. You know, they don't understand like what day by day, what we have to, you know, either hide in our pockets or not buy whatever we want because of money. We need to like go and visit them, you know, speak to them, tell them your personal story of what the system isn't working. There's something that you need to change around or redo because we're not liking it. We're not happy about this, and that's what I would like for it to happen. I'm sure it's not going to happen in a day, but hopefully in the future.
I think that the answers from our panelists have been really, really powerful, and now I would like to jump back very quickly to the chat box, and it seems that a lot of people are in strong agreement with Justin's earlier comments. And then we also have agreement with you, Kristin. SSI is so constrictive. They make disabled people think they are worthless. They should just stay on SSI and do nothing. No work, no volunteering until the day we die. I would personally like to go to the legislators and tell them myself if I could. And, you know, don't forget that you do have access to government and to be able to schedule meetings, and CareerACCESS can also help in providing a set of talking points for you if you would like. We can definitely offer that to you. And we have Sarah who said Social Security isn't just a law. It affects people's lives in a big way. If I lose my services, I can't get out of bed in the morning, which means I can't go to work. If I can't go to work, I am not a tax-paying citizen, and if I am not working, I have to get back on the system spending money that I could have been helping pay back in taxes. Obviously, it wouldn't be a law that I was paying in taxes. You get my point. It's a horrible, awful cycle that is not going to change, that is not going to end without change. And Daniel, and I fully agree with this in all capital letters, stories mean everything. And then we have Laura. Thank you so much, Laura, for jumping in, who said, honestly, I'd like to see private insurance and Medicare covering personal care, attendant services, and needed medical supplies, so SSI and Medicaid aren't our only options for these services. The income limits also need to be changed because it doesn't seem like it matches with inflation. And now, just to keep it moving, because we have about 10 minutes left, I had one last question I wanted to ask really quickly. Does anybody have any insight into how you believe that we can all work together to advocate for and bring about Social Security reform? I'd like to keep this to sort of a lightning round of answers. What do you feel that we can do to really come together and make a change? And first I will turn it to our panelists, and then I will open it to a couple other people really quickly, and then we will wrap up. So Justin, can I ask you to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, there are lots of ways that I think that we can work together, and I think the most important way to get this to move reforms forward is for every single person on this phone call who's listening to get involved the same way that you've been so actively involved in this discussion, to get involved in speaking on the national level to our representatives and to agency heads to let them know that the system as it is not working. We actually have a blog site, by the way. I know Hamza Jaka mentioned it earlier, www.ourcareeraccess.org, and we would love to get blog entries of you describing your experiences from everybody on here who hasn't submitted one. And also joining up with our group. We really need as many young adult millennial voices as we possibly can get. I'm going to turn it over to Emily now.
Do we still have Daniel on the line? Yay, okay.
Yes, I'm here. I think that a way that we can advocate together is to be informed. Know what the laws that exist currently in your state are. Know what the limitations are. Know how they're exclusive or inclusive to people with disabilities. And think about how can my state and my region and my impact help to make the movement more healthy? How can I be directly involved in the disability rights movement, particularly as it pertains to young people with disabilities? It's not working. Again, that's what we come back to and back to and back to. But what will work? One thing that we talked about, and I've seen a million responses to, are income and asset limit revisions. One is incorporating a method of getting all the different agencies to work together and even know what one another are doing. And another yet is to educate the public such that they understand that there's not a huge and incomprehensible cost of employing people with disabilities. There's a huge and incomprehensible cost of not employing them. And there's so many people in this call right now that are brilliant and that are talented and that are passionate and that aren't working because they're scared, whether or not they have a legitimate reason to be. The system is scared of them, or they're set up to fail. And we don't want that. We want to advocate together. So I think that we need to understand what's going on in our communities, and we need to take part actively. We need to get off the couch. And until that happens, nothing's going to be different.
Thank you, Daniel. And do you have anything that you would like to add, Kristin?
Yes. Kind of what I said on the question before, but mainly was to get the word out in the community. I think if we start out with the community first in your small areas, your street, and then branch out from there, if like the whole community is on board with this and they all kind of agree, branch out and, tell your friends and coworkers and just to get the knowledge out about, what we're all facing and what we don't like about it and then also, just tell your story about, what happened to you, and I think just in numbers, people growing and growing, it'll have a bigger effect when there's more people for Social Security reform. And then I found this statistic that I wrote down when I was at a workshop earlier this week, and it said 0.05% of SSI candidates go back or go to work. And I mean, I was looking at that and I'm like, so what? Why? That's nothing. That's like 0% that no one can go back to work. And people see things like that, then like hopefully they'll just make they have to we'll make a change. So, you know, somebody has to. Someone will, and it's us.
Thank you so much, Kristin. And I'm going to read a few more things from the chat box. We have about 5 minutes left, and then I'll tell everyone how they can get involved with Career Access, and then we'll wrap up. We are lucky enough to have one of the founders of the Career Access Initiative, Neil Jacobson, on the webinar with us, and he shares, while I am a big advocate of Career Access, and while Career Access will help a lot, please do not wait. There are ways around all rules. Yes, they are complicated and convoluted, but you cannot wait. Find out about PASS, Medicaid buy-in, the ABLE account, etc., and get involved with Career Access. And then, of course, we have people saying, I do want to get involved. How can I become a volunteer with Yo? And I'll just note that Yo and Career Access are not directly connected. Yo was just kind enough to host our webinar and provide a platform for us. So, of course, while I think Yo is a great organization, we are two separate ones. So I would recommend volunteering with us both. How about that? And then Hamza says, as a group, talk to our legislators and governors to promote reforms like including Career Access, and also make it a priority for lobbying organizations that represent us, such as AAPD, AARP, and others. Nichols already got a head start and is doing good work to lobby for, and yes, knowing the rules is very important. And then we actually have something in reference to a comment Laura made earlier. Sarah says, Laura, I am going to have to politely disagree with you. I think it is a good idea about privatizing PASS in theory, but I personally think that it would ruin the CDS program if it was run by the big insurance companies. They will want to control it like they do with funding via me and CRT. However, still addressing Laura, I completely agree with you about adjusting for inflation. And then Hamza jumped in, and making business tax cases a huge part of how we advocate. Fair point, Sarah. We in Wisconsin are likely going to be dealing with privatization a few years from now, and it ain't looking very positive. And then we jumped back to question 6, in which Sarah said, as far as question 6, share your story. When talking to Republicans, explain how your working is good for the economy and is fiscally responsible, and when you're talking to Democrats, stress civil rights. And Hamza says, we will all make that change, Kristin, and said hello to Neil. And I'm very excited to see a comment from Christina that says that Yo, Disabled and Proud would love to partner with Career Access on organizing a campaign to change Social Security. So, and then I see this is a topic that Yo youth are very passionate about but don't often feel comfortable sharing their stories. And I echo that sentiment for sure. And so, Christina, we will definitely be in touch after this webinar. And I will jump in one more time with what Laura said in response to Sarah earlier. That makes sense, Sarah. It's just frustrating for those that make too much money to receive personal care attendant services through Medicaid, SSI, and not enough to pay for it out of pocket. There needs to be other options out there, in my opinion, or at least raise the income limits. Daniel thinks that what Sarah said was eloquently put. And then Neil jumped in. Make an appointment with your state and federal legislator to see them and tell them about Career Access. We'll go with you either in person or by Skype if you want us to. And Daniel suggests make a short video, peeps, 5 to 7 minutes. And I would say maybe even a little bit shorter than that is okay too if you are more comfortable with a shorter video. But Daniel is absolutely right. If you make a video, we can put it on our website and share your story so that legislators can actually hear it from the people. And my next slide was any questions, but since we have exactly 2 minutes left, I will actually share that if you have any questions, you can email us at ourcareeraccess@gmail.com. And in terms of getting connected with us, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ourcareeraccess. You can find us at ourcareeraccess on Twitter. And on Instagram, one of my lovely colleagues, Aya Agavi, has been working on Humans of SSI, which is a play off of the Humans of New York account. Then, of course, you can sign up for our newsletter. I have the link here, but I recommend probably just emailing us if you can't see it, and I'll make sure I get you the link. And in terms of specifically getting involved with us, then you are more than welcome to shoot us an email and we can get you set up perhaps with sharing a blog post that has your story. You can create a video for us. We can provide you, as I mentioned earlier, with talking points that you can use in order to have meetings with your local legislators. We can have you be part of our team in terms of sharing things on social media. So there are a ton of ways that you can get on board in promoting what we are working on. And also, if you need more information just in general on Career Access, as Justin mentioned earlier, our website is ourcareeraccess.org. And you can read some of the stories that we have there, see examples of things that we have already shared on our website, and you can actually use that to get some information more specifically about the initiative that we're working on. I see that we have information in the chat box with our links and also with the link for Yo. And again, if you email us with any questions, we will do everything we can to get you on board as part of the team. So that's ourcareeraccess@gmail.com. And it is officially 7:30 my time, that is, so 4:30 Pacific time. And I wanted to say thank you so much to our panelists and to Yo and to everyone for being so incredible and participating in this really great dialogue, and we look forward to having
Emily, this
you
is
on board.
Christina. We'd like to thank you, Emily, Justin, Daniel, and Kristin, and Nathan for unofficially sharing so much of your stories. We really learned a lot and appreciate your honesty and openness, and we really hope that a lot of people take the opportunity to share this archive once it's available online with their colleagues that weren't able to join us today. Thank you so much again, and the archive will be made available on the Yo Disabled and Proud website in the webinar library in 7 to 14 days. It will be closed captioned, fully accessible for anybody who needs it after it becomes archived, and all of our other past webinars are also archived online in our library. You can also access them from our Yo Disabled and Proud YouTube channel. I also want to thank Rosemary for being our technical assistance today, and I hope that many of you I see at a future #8825 Forum for Youth. Take care and have a wonderful evening.